Pause for a moment. Because we live in a world that teaches people panic, rush, control, force outcomes, control everything, and constantly struggle and hustle to survive in this life. But God reveals a completely different kingdom principle. In the book of Isaiah chapter 30 verse 50, God says, in quietness and trust shall be your strength. Think about how strange that sounds to the natural mind. Because today the word says, move faster, push harder, worry more, figure out everything yourself. But God says your greatest strength is found in quietness. Your strength is found in trust. Quietness is not weakness. Quietness is spiritual stability. The ability to silence the noise within, the fear, the panic, the anxiety, the confusion, and the endless what-ifs that are running through your thoughts. And the ability to become still enough to remember that God Almighty is still in control. Some people are exhausted not because the battle is too big or too strong, but because they are trying to carry what only God was designed to carry. Many people think strength means always fighting, always pushing, always stressing. But sometimes your greatest strength is surrender. Not surrender to defeat, but surrender to God Almighty. And to surrender to God means that you trust. And trust here means that, Lord, I may not understand everything happening right now, but I trust you, the one who holds the future. I trust you, the one who holds the future in your hands. Because faith is not pretending that the storm or the problem does not exist. But faith is resting while the storm is present. Because you know who holds the future in his hands. Because you know who is in control. Because you know God remains sovereign above it. And the one who is above all. You see, the word says, fight harder, push harder. But God says, be still and know that I am God. Because panic drains your strength, fear weakens your vision, and anxiety clouds your judgment. But quiet trust reconnects you to peace, wisdom, clarity, discernment, and divine strength. Some people cannot hear God clearly anymore, not because God stopped speaking, but because inwardly there is too much noise, too much fear, too much pressure, too much striving. Sometimes the breakthrough is not in doing more. Sometimes the breakthrough is becoming still enough to hear God clearly again. That the same God who carried David before Goliath, the same God who fought for Jehoshaphat, the same God who silenced the storm with just a word, can still sustain you, can still uphold you, and He will strengthen you, and He will help you. Look at Daniel. He was thrown into a den full of lions. Think about that. Not one lion, a den full of lions. And yet Daniel remained steady. Why? Because when your trust is deeply rooted in God, panic no longer holds control over your spirit. You remain steady no matter what is shaking around you, no matter the pressure that is coming at you, no matter what is happening, you remain steady because you know who your trust is in. Some people lose peace the moment pressure appears. But Daniel understood something powerful that kept him to be steady no matter where he found himself. Daniel understood that God was greater than the environment and what was happening around him. And because he remained steady and faithful, God shut the mouth of the lions. When your spirit stays anchored in God, even dangerous seasons cannot consume you. You come out standing victorious because He said, this is the heritage of the children. I, the Lord, will defend you. I, the Lord, will fight for you. And I, the Lord, will dismiss every case made against you. You see, David stood before Goliath calmly while an entire army panicked. Why? Because confidence in God creates stability under pressure. So no matter what is happening, you don't shake, you don't fumble. Because you know that God is still in control. David did not watch the size or the stature or the appearance of the problem. David said the battle is the Lord's, and God carried him before Goliath and gave him victory. If you are going to look away from the size of the problem, from the due date, from the unexpected bill, from the pressure, from the sickness, and just look to God, because looking to God will make you radiant, and your face will never be put to shame. Because when you look to God, God carries what you cannot carry. God fights for you and gives you victory. Listen, Jehoshaphat, when he was surrounded by enemies, he said, Lord, for we do not know what to do, but our eyes are on you. When they stopped panicking and started trusting, God fought for them and God vindicated them. Listen, in Isaiah, King Sennacherib threatened Hezekiah and said that even God will not be able to deliver him in his hands. And Hezekiah went to the temple, spread the letter, and said, God, open your ears and hear, open your eyes and see this threat that has come against me. God just sent one angel, and before daybreak, that angel killed 185,000 soldiers. And now, the king who was threatening Hezekiah fled away. Where do you find yourself? What has happened to you in this life? If you can just look up to God, if you can just ask him to see and hear what is happening to you, just look up to him and put your trust in him. When you begin to look away from the problem and begin to look to God and cry out to God, you gain the spiritual stability to silence the noise within that is causing the anxiety, panic, pressure, and the endless what ifs that are running through your thoughts. You stabilize that fear, and fear loses its grip, and you begin to walk in the confidence of trusting in God, and God will deliver you no matter what you find yourself. Even Jesus slept during the storm. The storm was shaking the boat, but not his spirit. The storms around you may be shaking things around you, but don't allow the storm to shake your spirit within. Because God Almighty has given you spiritual stability to stabilize that fear, the panic, the anxiety that is happening within you. Because when the storm around you enters within, it weakens your vision and distracts you from your course and makes you lose focus. So don't allow the storm around you become the storm within you. When you stop wrestling for control and start trusting in God's ability, something powerful happens. Your mind becomes clear. Your spirit becomes steady. Fear begins to lose its grip. Healing begins to enter the heart. And strength begins to rise from within. And you begin to walk in the spiritual stability that silences every noise and gives you clarity and gives your focus a new direction. Some battles are not won by panic. They are won by peace, because your greatest strength is not in panic. It is in your surrender. Surrender to God, withholding nothing. Surrender and trust, because in quietness and trust shall be your strength. The enemy attacks your peace first, because a troubled mind struggles to hear God clearly. Because having strength flows best through a surrendered soul. When you surrender to God, having strength flows through you. Only when you surrender, when you let go, when you release the control of the outcome and trust in the one who holds the future and trust in the God who is in control over everything, heaven, strength will flow through you and bring you deliverance and bring you victory. And you will stand triumphant, both physically and spiritually. Because David said the word of the Lord is flawless. Flawless means that the word is tested and proven and battle proven. that the word is unshakable and the word is dependable, which means every word God has said to you is trustworthy, and that nothing compares to the promise that we have in Him. So today, quiet your mind, release the fear, release the control. Stop trying to carry everything alone. Trust deeply in Him. Let His peace carry what your strength cannot. Repeat this quietly to yourself. I release the panic. I release the fear. I release the need to control everything. I choose quietness. I choose trust. And I choose peace. Because He said, in quietness and trust shall be my strength. Because God Almighty is still in control. And in Him I will find my strength. The world teaches people to survive with pressure. But heaven teaches people to survive with peace. Remember, His peace surpasses all understanding. So be strong and courageous. With God, we will scale over everything. Stay blessed and God bless you.